AVCT stock preparing for a very important breakout from a formation that we've been following for quite some time now. Let's go ahead and review exactly what I mean by that. What is up, you guys? This is ARCa coming at you with an AVCT, technicals, raw price action, and some statistical thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in in Discord called ARCab. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. So this is AVCT in the 4-hour chart, and we are looking at what could be the early signs of a breakout, an imminent breakout. So now, breakout of what though, right? So let's look at this right over here. This is a large descending channel that we've been following, okay? We've been following it for quite some time now, actually, probably since up here. So usually the breakouts out of formations like this happen by utilizing the golden rule of 3, which is usually something that I speak of very often here in this channel. Okay, so you are looking at test number 1 of the resistance, test number 2 of the resistance, we have test number 3, and we are potentially making that 4th test and break right down here currently. So in the price action, or what's happening right now, we're building something very interesting, and this is generally a bullish sign. We are building what could be a pennant. Okay, so in this case, we may actually have to not use this candle, since this candle was more of a psychologically based type of movement. So it would more than likely be something like this, right? So, and then like this. So usually these, I know it's not perfect right now, you guys. I'm not gonna pay so much attention into this right now. The formation is what I'm looking at, and usually these formations tend to realize to the upside or the downside, usually when they're about 70% to the apex of the triangle. In this case, we are sitting right at that 70% mark, potentially 75 now. So this is a very good sign since we're at this resistance here. Now, the 4-hour print that we got on Friday, this is not necessarily a bearish candle. This is actually a spinning top doji, which usually happens when there is a battle between the bears and the bulls that is unsolidified, or in other words, a tie. Okay, so the upside of this candle actually attempted to reach the 2.618 golden mean, but it actually failed in doing so at the 115. So we can actually see that the high of this candle was, you can see the metrics of the candles right here. Okay, so let's see the H. It's 114. So definitely shy by 1 cent to reach that 2.618 level. But that's usually something that happens. I speak of this often as well. If I tell you that this is going to be the target where we're going to, usually the sentiment will tend to lock in profits just before it, just in case it never reaches that exact mark, right? So this can leave some bag holders. But if I were to look at the price action in a very discretionary manner, we could see potential downside move, very short-lived, potentially to the $1.08 level, even to 106 or so, before attempting to break out to this. Okay, so we just faced the resistance from this trend line here, from the pennant, and we are now facing the resistance from the resistance line of the descending channel, which is this yellow one here. Okay, now let's move up. Let's move on and get some EMAs on this. Okay, very good sign here. We do have the 7-day exponential moving average acting as support right now. So failing this, we could have other moving averages below it too. Let's see the SMAs. Yeah, so we do have the 10-day simple moving average sitting right at about 109, and we do have, this is a target that I've actually been looking at and I've been suggesting is potentially 104 or 103 for AVCT, and this particular moving average is the man, there we go. It is the 30-day exponential moving average. Okay, so if a candle does fail this, the likelihood of it being caught by the 1.618 at 104 and the 30-day exponential moving average, the likelihood is it's great. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here. So this is the statistical side of the analysis, of which we have now made and solidified our statistical move I think to the penny, actually. So based on an entire back test the backtest is actually a momentum versus volatility test throughout the entire trading history of AVCT. Now, for the new viewers, we do have to go through this right now. New viewers, this is volatility you're looking at, represented by this indicator, BBWP. Volatility is direction neutral, so we actually pair it with an indicator to give us a bias for direction. In this case, I am using an indicator proprietary to TradingView software, which is called stochastic momentum. It's very similar to an RSI, but it is a momentum-based indicator, okay? So what we did here is that we ran a back test. This is actually done by hand, okay, you guys? So we ran a back test of every time that volatility has expanded into critical zones, which I consider to be anything above this 90% at or above, and started a contraction phase to the downside alongside momentum pitched to the upside, you know, for it to give us a bias for, or an average of how many guesses this profile between these two indicators have guessed the upside for the asset correctly versus incorrectly. So before I give you those results, I also backtested particularly to the AVCT asset in the 2-day time frame. I have backtested just the momentum indicator by itself, and the momentum indicator has gotten 10 out of 12 total iterations throughout the trading history of AVCT, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of 83.33% in guessing the asset's direction. It's not perfect, but it's very, very good to consider, obviously, since we just met yet again, we met our statistical average to the penny, or to the dot. Okay, so now, particular to the volatility versus momentum profile, we actually got, out of the 12 iterations, we have 0 that were incorrect. So this gives us a 100% upside accuracy of a move of about 53% over the span of just over a month. This is proof of work. So if we hide our indicators, you can actually see that upon the firing of the move, the 53% or 58, I forgot what it was, 58% move to the upside indicated for us to land right at about, let's see, that is $1.28, and this is the candle that eventually made that move to the upside. Let's see what that candle has. The values again are right up here. It had a high of $1.27. Okay, so the statistics proved to be just dead on in this. And this is the way I trade, okay? I trade based on historical volatility versus momentum. I study the history of the asset to be able to determine what's going to happen in the future, regardless of there being naked shorts or regardless of there being manipulation to the market. The averages are the averages, and mathematics are able to give me that edge. Okay, so this is how I trade. Another thing that we do have to note within the volatility versus momentum is that, as you can see, the move may actually still be in play. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're looking at the volatility component here of the BBWP, and the moving average still pivoted towards the downside, which was a prerequisite for us to be able to meet this averaged upside, alongside the stochastic momentum averages pivoted towards the upside. This is still in play. So, and the buy daily chart is still suggesting an upside continuation. So the signal is gonna turn into something else. But you know, out of the 12 iterations, now there's 13 out of 0, 13 and 0, 100%. This is incredible for AVCT. Usually when I, go bet more money, it's actually when we do have about 80 plus or 100 plus iterations. That's when you you can definitely bet some. But at these low iterations, I even warned that it's just a statistical metric and it's not a certainty. Okay, but let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. So this is the ascending channel that Xmas Holiday Discord member and I have been looking at since about this point right over here, or I think it may have been somewhere down. Actually, it was down here on November 22nd, and we noticed that this could potentially be an ABCD type of play, which is very common within institutional traders, professional traders, scalpers, momentum traders, all kinds. swing traders too. Okay, so it has moved according to our implied path very, very accurately. So this is another thing that we should actually look at here. If you draw a trend line from this spinning top doji, and follow the support touches from these candles, like in this manner, we may be able to see where we can end up. And this is in a 4-hour chart, so this next candle is very there is a likelihood to where it can bounce from 106. Or even the 30-day exponential moving average. There is a support range here, okay? So it's going to be, it would usually be between the two Fibonacci ratios. So we could see a support range of between 102 and 106 before a continuation to the upside. Another thing that you should consider is that these formations, this is an ascending channel, it usually presents a bearish outlook. Okay, so I did, you know what? This is my markup. This chart in particular, this is my markup for the divergences that I have in the 12-hour chart specifically. But I marked it all up in a quick analysis thing that Xmas Holiday and I actually were looking at, and I now can't see that. So I didn't have the time to be able to prepare the bullish divergences that are forming that I can actually clearly see based on this little peak here. So we can, I don't even know what to really call that. So this little pivot here, we can see that it has opposing price. It has opposing trend lines according to the price action. So what I did is, in fact, this. So I have never forward tested the ARC Crypstex indicators. So this is Crypstex Trading and I have actually entered into a partnership, and they have since recommended and allowed me to use some very brilliant indicators that they have coded and developed. Very intelligent group of guys, and this is essentially what I'm going to be doing for this particular time frame. These are used primarily for short-term time frames, max 1 hour. Okay, but in this case, I'm going to forward test the 12-hour chart because it is the whale spotter indicator is noticing the bullish divergences that I am noticing on the chart previous to this. So we have 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence happening, and I can definitely see them. It usually happens when divergences in bullish cases usually happen when the RSI, which is built into this indicator, it gives you sell signals, it gives you buy signals, it gives you the divergences based on an RSI built into this. We have VWAP, we have money flow index. Lots of good things. The momentum waves are also in this. This is a very complex indicator that gives you just so many tools and confirmation. So this little whale sign, when it comes up, it usually gives you a confirmation of a bullish or a bullish divergence being printed officially. And this is why I wanted to be able to mark up this previous chart. But as you can see, Whale Spotter is actually doing it for me pretty accurately. So this is something I'm not used to, and it's very, very good to consider. The enhanced MACD in the 12-hour, this is the ARC enhanced MACD. So you can actually see the ARC-Series indicators here. They're ARC because they're after me, ARCa. Okay, so the enhanced MACD is actually still giving us a bullish signal, and the ARC armor is still giving us a buy signal here. So these are potentially buy and sell signals too. So you have a bear for short, you have a bull for long, and we're still going long. And the ARC armor is still suggesting a long from a bearish print from down here. So we're up here, sorry. So we're looking at a sell signal down here. It actually did not even recoup to buy signal. This thing happens all the time. Never fall for this, okay, you guys? I'm happy this popped up. This thing up here, I don't know who the hell that is. I don't know how these like scammers keep on coming up, but don't fall for this, okay? That lady, she always pops up. I'm gonna tell her to go away. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we had a huge sell signal here in which it didn't even give us a long signal from this area to this area because it noticed that it was gonna go all the way down. So it did catch the long signal right down here, and it has since in the 12-hour chart, which is very, very impressive. It has since recovered. Let's see, about 27% since the firing of that signal. So definitely very good indicators. This is me forward testing them right now. So they are available to you. Make sure to send me a text or a text. make sure to send me a DM on Twitter or on Discord. I'll make sure to leave the links in the description below for you to consider joining the ARCa trading community as well. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good place for me to leave off the video. I definitely see some upside for AVCT, but it's contingent upon a little bit of a downside first. Okay, so everything's looking good. Everything's definitely looking good. So something like this before we can jump up to the top and then confirm our newly converted resistance into support before a continuation onto the upside. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say. But with that said, I wish you well. I wish you a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you at the bell on Monday. Adios.